So for physiology, you should have said something about the study of life processes in an organism. For nastic movement, something about the plants responding in a pre-programmed fashion. Okay, so not directed by stimuli, but a pre-programmed fashion. Pore spaces is basically the holes in the soil, okay, that water and air can get in. Translocation was movement through the phloem. So you could have said movement down and around, but movement through the phloem would be translocation. Gravitropism is a growth response to gravity. Imperfect flower is one that doesn't have both the carpel and the stamen, so it's got one or the other, something like that. Okay, number 2, it said name the 4 processes for which plants require water, and that would be photosynthesis, turgor pressure, hydrolysis, and transport. Number 3, if plants lose control of its stomata and they remain closed, will substances still flow through the xylem? That would be no, they will not. Excuse me, yeah, I was right, no, they will not. I got it, really, I do. Okay, and then number 4, it says if a plant loses control of its stomata and they remain closed, will substances still flow through the phloem? And the answer to that one is yes, they would still flow through the phloem for a while at least. Number 5, a biologist has a sample of fluid that came from a plant. It is composed mostly of organic materials. Did it come from the xylem or the phloem? That would be the phloem. Number 6, because it's talking about sugars and stuff like that. Number 6, if an insectivorous plant cannot catch any insects, will it starve to death? No, it will not. Remember, it photosynthesizes. It just uses it like fertilizer. Number 7, a gardener has 2 genetically identical plants. If one is the offspring of the other, did the parent propagate sexually or vegetatively? If they're identical, it would be vegetatively. Okay, number 8, A is ovules, B is anther, C is sepals, and D is petal. Wow, that's kind of odd that they picked those parts to identify. Didn't you think so? With all that other stuff, and they picked the petals and the sepals instead of all those reproductive parts that I'd have picked? Anyway, okay. Let's see. Number 9, match the following structures with the correct function. And so I'm just for speed, I'm going to do it this way. 9, anther is B. Forms and releases pollen. 10, the answer is C. Holds the embryo sacs. 11, the answer is D. Catches the pollen. And 12, the sepals are A. Protects the sexual organs as they form. Okay. Number 13, what function do the cotyledon perform before germination? They feed the embryo. Somehow, something about provide nutrients for the embryo. Did anybody put the seed leaf? Because that'd be after germination, so that's a moot point, right? Okay. Number 14, what is the purpose of a fruit? It's actually to move the seed away from the parent plant. 15, name at least 3 ways in which pollen is transferred from the stamen of a flower to the carpel of another. Boy, you could go a bunch of ways here. You could have said wind, you could have named bees, or moths, or butterflies, or birds, or people bumping into them. No, you know. So you had to come up with 3 different things, okay? And here they said wind, bees, beetles, birds, moths, butterflies, bats, right? Okay. Anyway, all right, so that was number 15. Number 16, which has more cells prior to fertilization, a pollen grain or an embryo sac? That would definitely be the embryo sac, wouldn't it? Because there's 7 of those, 8 nuclei in an embryo sac, but there's only 3 in the pollen grain, right? It's definitely the embryo sac. Number 17, when an embryo sac is fertilized, which cell is not diploid? The zygote or the endosperm? You tell me. Endosperm, that's right. And so each answer is worth 3 points apiece. So every answer on the test is worth 3 points. Subtract from 100.